Being in captivity means having no control over your mind, body, or soul. You have absolute no control over what happens to you. I realized that I could have just as easily still be there, perhaps even killed, with my story being told to you by others, or lost and never told. The sexual assault I experienced should never happen to any human being, under any circumstances. No one should ever be sexually violated, and there are no justifying circumstances for these crimes. Thank you, Cheryl. Madam Vice President, distinguished guests, thank you for having me here today. I'm deeply honored. If someone had told me a few months ago, while I was sitting in a dark room in Gaza, tied up by my ankle, without being able to move, that I would be standing here today, before you all, I would have thought that they were all out of their minds. A few months ago, I was in captivity. Captivity is such a big word, but I want to describe to you all what it really means. Being in captivity means having no control over your mind, body, or soul. You have absolute no control over what happens to you. All your basic human rights are taken from you. Even your feelings are completely controlled by someone else. Back then, I had no voice, no choice. I had no control whatsoever over my own life. I knew that my home and the people that I love were so close to me, just a few minutes' drive from where I was being held. Yet they felt so far and out of reach. I feared that I would never get to see them again. I thought that I would never return home. But I was lucky. I was one of the few who were released on the last day of the temporary ceasefire as part of the hostages exchange agreement. Standing here today, I realize how fortunate I am to be alive, to be free, to be safe, and to be able to share my story with you. I realize that I could have just as easily still be there, perhaps even killed, with my story being told to you by others, or lost and never told. And as difficult as it is for me to speak out, to talk to you about this very private, intimate experience that happened to me, it is far more difficult to stay silent. I don't see myself as a victim. I am a strong, independent woman, and no one can change that. The sexual assault I experienced should never happen to any human being, under any circumstances. No one should ever be sexually violated, and there are no justifying circumstances for these crimes. I remember telling myself that no matter what happens to me, if I will come out of it alive, I would grow stronger from it and not let what happened define me. Yes, it will always be a part of my story, but with time, the trauma will subside, and these difficult events will empower me. As I said, back then, I did not have any choice. I had to do what I was told in order to stay alive. Now I have a choice, and I have decided I could not stay silent. I must speak about the horrible things that are probably still happening there to innocent women and men. My recovery depends on the rescue of my sisters and brothers who are still there. My wounds cannot even begin to heal as long as their suffering continues. When I was in Gaza, during the first days of the war, I saw President Biden's plane landing in Israel. It gave me such hope and strengthened me, knowing that Israel's best friend was coming to our aid. President Biden's last speech renewed my hope that we can move forward with the deal and release all hostages as soon as possible. And I really, really hope that it will happen soon. Thank you. Thank you so much.